Welcome to Reality Tea Times 2, the podcast where we discuss all the trash reality TV we love to hate. I'm Tanika, and we are finally getting back into your eardrums with Selling Sunset. So basically how we're going to do this is we're going to do episodes 7 to 9 in one episode. And then we will do 10 and 11 in its own episode. And then you will have the reunion, tell all, whatever we're calling this, as its own episode. And I am most likely going to give that to you while I am on the break. So that's what we're going to be doing with this. I will have a few more announcements that I'll discuss in the toe episode, but we're not going to go into too much of the announcements because this is a Netflix binge. So we're just going to jump right into it. So Selling Sunset, season 7, episode 7, Cabo San Loco. San Loco. That's it. Okay. So, how's the renovation going in the new office? Good. But Brett says, there is a toilet to flush money down. So that's a cool little feature. He's still really butthurt about the money. So Chelsea sold a house. It's actually the $10 million house. Hold on to that because, yeah. So it's the $10 million house that she sold, and she sold that in 2 weeks. So Chelsea goes and she rings the bell. Yay. Bree's a little bit annoyed just in general because she hates Chelsea. And do we blame her? Not at all. I love Bree, and Bree can do no wrong. That's basically where I'm at. So now we see, because they're having this conversation in the office on whether or not you can climb the rope that the bell is hanging from. So Jason's like, yeah, I think I can do it. And you see Jason like a spider monkey just climbing up this rope. I mean, goddamn, that's pretty impressive, honestly. We just see him climbing this thing. He goes like way up there, and he did it like it was absolutely nothing. I'm very impressed because I could not. I wouldn't have been able to even get to the rope. So good for him. And so he does that. So Emma went more blonde, we find out here. So that completely gets ignored after that because, she went a little more blonde. So here's where we're going to be going. We're going to be going to Cabo. Now it's the Sunset office's turn to go to Cabo. And obviously Mary is not here in the office because she had only experienced her miscarriage a couple of days before. And Amanza tells a few people kind of what happened. I think at some point everyone kind of finds out, obviously, but she only kind of tells like Chrishell, and I think Chelsea, I'm not sure, but she's telling a few people what happened. And Bree was a part of the conversation because Bree says that she completely understands how this feels. Because I think she experienced, I think, either 1 or 2 miscarriages herself. She fully understands. And you know what? Nicole said a really great thing here, which, I mean, I feel like no matter how garbage of a person you are, I think we can all come together as women and say, like, the thing that needs to be said. But Nicole says, what kind of all women feel in these moments when it happens, when a miscarriage may or may not happen, is we get told it's our fault, we did something wrong, and all of that. And it's our duty as women to say you did nothing wrong. It's unfortunately something that just happens. And I think our bodies are fantastic things that, honestly, certain things makes no sense to me. And what happens to your body when you're pregnant is just one of those things. Like, it baffles my mind. I actually had this conversation with a friend of mine who unfortunately did experience this. And talking to her about this, I'm just like, it is so crazy to me that something that our bodies are supposed to naturally do, which is to get pregnant, and our body attacks that fetus. It's ridiculous to me. So it's not ridiculous to me. Obviously, this is how it is, but it's just like, it baffles my mind because I'm like, how does that even work? So there's nothing a woman can do to, prevent something like from happening. It's out of our control. So I think it's really perfect to have that be said. It doesn't make the experience any easier. Of course not. It's devastating. Even it doesn't matter how much research you do, how much you do to prevent something like this from happening. It's so sad. It's horrible. So I think what Nicole said in this moment was pretty perfect. So Amanza does say as well, not only reach out to Mary, but I think we should also reach out to Romain, because he is being so strong for Mary in this moment, but he is kind of neglecting his needs as well for her, which I think it's good to see that he's putting her before himself. And I think there are not a lot of men who do that. But I think we also have to remember that although differently, like he's not physically going through what Mary's going through, he is emotionally. So, think of him too. So, but they're going to see if Mary can come to Cabo because they think that maybe this will be really good for her. So, the next scene, Bree and Chrishell are at a listing, and Chrishell just kind of starts opening drawers, like she's lives here. And there's a fireplace in the bathroom, which is kind of cool. Bree says, well, Chelsea definitely talked because we're now talking about the whole situation with the conversation between Chelsea and Bree. And Chrishell says, like, you guys talked, how'd that go? And this is what she says, that she really talked. And Chrishell's like, oh, that's not what I got. Like, I thought, like, y'all squashed this shit, but no. And she feels that Chelsea is just kind of doing what everybody else is doing. Everyone else thinks Bree is amazing and likes Bree and is friends with Bree. So why is Chelsea not friends or nice with Bree? And trust me, I have so much to say when it comes to Chelsea. We're going to save it until we kind of get there. But yeah, she's just like, I think she's just kind of doing what everybody else is doing because she probably feels singled out that she doesn't get along with Bree, but like that's on you, ma'am, So because of that, she doesn't feel like the apology or the conversation or anything having to do with this is genuine. I don't blame her. I 100% agree with her. So Bree says that she just wants to be wants her to be upfront with her. Like she's like, listen, if you're just upfront with me and say like A, B, and C, right? Then just own up to that. Just say that. I'll have more respect for you. Maybe we won't be friends, but we can at least be civil. Like, just be upfront with me. This bullshitting shit is not working. Then Chrishell talks about apologizing to Nicole and how that went down. And she's like, I don't like Nicole, but yet I still apologize to her. And yet she didn't do for me. And because of this, because of both of their issues, Bree and Chrishell, they feel a little weird about going to Cabo. And they both establish a safe word here in case they need to get out of any really awkward situations. And basically, that safe word is going to be Oppenheim wine because And in their words, who wants to drink that wine? Clearly there's something wrong. That's basically what they're saying. So what I loved here in this moment is Bree says, really, honestly, I usually only use safe words in like my red room. Girl, okay, I see you. Red room of pain, or, you know. But yeah, that's where we're at with that. So then we see Amanza, Chrishell, Emma, and Chelsea are going to be going on the jet to Cabo, just them. This is going to come back. Okay. Chelsea spills her drink in the moment. Wow. But nonetheless, let's head to Cabo. And they ask, like, how do you feel about Chrishell, about Nicole being on this trip? And Chrishell says, listen, we are not staying together. I'm not making that mistake again. We're going to stay in separate places. Of course, I'm going to attend things that Nicole's going to be at, but I'm not going to be in the same space as Nicole. So it's going to be fine. So basically, her and Emma have their own place separate from everybody else. Chelsea didn't know this. She thought that everyone was staying together. And she's like, what the fuck do I do? Because, like, I'm friends with, like, Amanza. I like Nicole. There's people who are going to be there. Maybe somewhere in there, Davina's there as well. Who knows? But anyways, but like, we're going to be, like, friends with these. Like, I'm friends with them, but I'm also friends with you. Who's like, what do I do? And it's up in the air right now if Chelsea will stay with Emma and Chrishell or stay at the house that Jason and Brett have gotten for them to stay in. Basically, also, Emma is just kind of like, listen, I don't want to be a part of this either. Fuck this shit. And she says, does this jet look like I am a social climber or social climbing? No. But anyways, when we get to the landing strip or whatever the hell we're calling, whatever. We get to Cabo, it already begins with them going in separate cars. Basically, like, yeah. Anyways, moving on. So Amanza and Chelsea are at the house now. Everyone's there. Nicole is there. Jason, Brett are there. Is there anybody else there? I think that was it. Because Bree comes later. So anyways, they're there. And they're getting a tour of this house. House is pretty crazy. Nicole is a little jealous about the jet situation. Huh. We're going to find out all about that. Jason is not happy that Chrishell and Emma chose to stay separately from everybody else. But hey, Chelsea picks her room and she took her shoes off, so she's marked her spot in this room. It's actually a really cool room. It has like this balcony facing, I think it's like the ocean, or I think it was the ocean view. So she's like, she's happy. Anyways. So meanwhile, we're back in LA with Mary and Romain. And they're going out. It's their first night out since everything happened. And she says, right now, I'm just trying to look at the silver linings in what happened. I can get Botox again. I can drink again. But, deep down, obviously, she's not okay. She says that she had the DNC procedure 2 days before. And she says, like, right now, he says he doesn't want her to put any pressure on herself to try to get pregnant again. Obviously, she is kind of staring into the barrel of the clock of nature and shit, but she's early 40s. She still has a chance. Like, obviously, yes, we know, like, the sooner the better. But I feel like Romain is also like, I don't want to speak on them and their experiences and their discussions as a married couple, but I feel like Romain's the kind of person who will be like, listen, if we don't have our own children, it's going to be okay. And I feel like they would still try, like, if they can't have Mary carry a child, a child, that they probably would try to do surrogacy, and they probably can do that fairly easily enough. Try a few rounds or whatever, and try to make that happen. They have a lot. Like, I don't want to, obviously, like, they're where they're at in when it comes to trying to get pregnant and everything like that. And maybe having the opportunity to use science. Not a lot of people have that opportunity. So they do have a lot of opportunities to make this happen if it doesn't happen now. So I do kind of see where he's coming from here. Like, I'm sure he's not necessarily thinking that, but I can kind of twist that a little bit and kind of say, because of that, because you have options, and maybe he'll be okay with just not trying, once time comes. Like, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Like, I don't think he would leave her because of it. I think it's good to give yourself the mental break, the emotional break, to say, let me breathe, let me take this in before trying to start again. So because if you put that pressure on yourself, it's not going to happen. So he says also that he's just trying to focus on how she is feeling, which means because of this, he's not really focusing on how he is feeling. You have to look at yourself too, because but then again, like, I've had it happen in many times where sometimes you're the one that needs to just break down for a minute and have the other person be that strength for you. And then you switch off, you get that out, you become the strength, and let that person lean on you. It happens. I think all the time, but I just hope he doesn't neglect that when he feels he can deal with it. I just hope he doesn't neglect it. I hope he does deal with it if he needs to. On a brighter note, Jason wants her to come to Cabo, but she doesn't think that it's a good idea, but he thinks it might be a good idea. But Mary says that she doesn't want to be a part of any drama. She wants to stay out of it. She loves that she's been out of the drama. But she asks, like, okay, if I go, will you come with me? She just really wants to be near her husband right now. And he says, absolutely. So they're both going to Cabo. So back in Cabo, it's dinner time. Everyone looks great. Not sure about Nicole, though. Not sure what she's wearing. She's always very, like, when you have, like, the Chelseas and the Breeze, and especially the Chelseas, and even sometimes the Chrishell and the everybody else, and then you have Nicole, and it's just like, did you try? Fuck. Anyway, Nicole's being a bitch, per usual, about both Chrishell and Emma coming in late to the dinner. Bitch, shut the fuck up. I like people being punctual, and, like, you coming late, it's just so disrespectful. Fuck you. Shut up. It's like, I mean, I understand what she's saying, because I would feel the exact same way. But because I don't like you, anything that comes out your mouth 9 times out of 10, I want you to stop. Like, just shush. That, in the words of Kathy from Golden Bachelor, zip it. That's all I want from you. Please. Thank you. So, anyway. So, Chrishell says that she doesn't to see Heather, actually, with Mary. And she says, Mary's tough, but she doesn't always have to be. Yeah. I mean, I feel like single mothers is just a different type of tough, They have to go through shit that I think others who will never understand. Again, I'm raised by a single mother, so it's just so different. But I hear what she's saying, but it's like that is innate. It's in her. I don't think Mary will ever not be strong and tough for herself. And I'm sure she really gets weak, or not even weak, weak's the wrong word to use, but just vulnerable with Romain, because that is her comfort. That is someone she can be that way with. Like, I mean, I can be that way with my partner, then maybe I wouldn't be that way with others, because I feel comfortable enough to do so. So, you know, she may be in front of everybody being really tough, but we don't know what's happening behind closed doors when it's just the two of them. Maybe she is not as tough, or at least, letting it out. So Emma says to Chelsea, I love that you apologized and took accountability when it comes to Bree. It goes a long way. Right in front of Nicole, Emma says all of this. Right in front of her. Then Chrishell says, well, I talked to Bree, and I think Bree maybe thinks a little differently about this apology than you do, Chelsea. But Chelsea feels like she did apologize. She did all those things. She owned up to her shit. Like, what the fuck's the problem? Here we go. Then Amanza says, I love that Chrishell is trying to bridge a gap and that it's working. But when I did it, all hell broke loose. Amanza, now is not the time. Then Chelsea says, let me explain the way I would with my son. What the actual fuck? When she said this, I even audibly gasped. And like, her son's like 2 or 3. And again, that is very just, it's gross. And it's even more gross. I'm going to go here, but it's even more gross hearing a Black woman say that to another Black woman is disgusting to me. Don't fucking talk to her that way. Don't talk to any woman that way. Don't talk to any person that way. But it's just even more of a gut punch when you see another woman of color saying that to another woman of color. Like, don't do that. We get that enough from white people or just men. We're going to use that trope. We don't need to hear that from you too. What the fuck? And like Chelsea kind of tries to backpedal a little bit, and it's like, I didn't mean like that, but no, own your shit. And everyone's like, whoa, that's not okay. Even Jason is like, whoa, wait, what? Don't say that. So anyway, Amanza at this point basically says, look, I don't want to have this conversation anymore. Don't like what you just said. I'm not going to be able to listen at this point. So I'm done. And she, yeah, actually, don't know if she actually left the table, but she just says, like, I'm not having this conversation. Then Jason says, in the spirit of getting like the whole office together, it would have been nice to have you, Chrishell, and Emma staying here with us. Then Nicole says, yeah, I'm here. That's fucking great for you. I don't give a shit that you're here. Doesn't make a fucking difference, ma'am. And she's like, I made the best of it. Well, of course you are, because Chrishell's not even there, ma'am. Oh my God. Anyways, Chrishell says, it's because you're here is why I won't be here. And she says, don't try to be the bigger person here. Like, because you're not the bigger person. I did this to be able to keep the peace when I have to be with you. Then Nicole says, like, with some sort of difficulty, apparently, like she can't fucking switch shit out. When you, so Chrishell is like, what? Then Nicole just talks in circles, as she normally does. And Chrishell is like, get to the point. I don't have a fucking day. Get to the fucking point. And Nicole says, do you not understand? No one understands what you're saying. No one but whatever's happening in your fucking brain. No one else understands what's happening right now, because this is the thing with Nicole. She wants to be like this big bad person, yet when she gets into arguments with other people, she can't even hold her own. She's like, she doesn't do well in confrontation. So maybe instead of having to deal with being in confrontations with other people, maybe just keep your mouth shut, because you sound like a blubbering dummy when you're talking here. So then Chrishell says, okay, so spit it out, like get it out. She's like, I wasn't uninvited from the jet. So that's what she says earlier too. She says, when you uninvite someone, Chrishell's like, what? She's like, I was uninvited from the jet. And Chrishell says, but you were never invited. What are you talking about? And Nicole says, yeah, I was, because I got the details. Oh, what details? So Chrishell says, who? Who gave you details? And she says, Brett. Then Brett says, whoa, wait. Like, I don't want to get thrown under the bus here or anything, but he says, listen, everyone got the itinerary. Everyone was supposed to be on that jet. And everyone kind of shuts up at this point. And Nicole says, but singling out someone isn't like helping. And I hear you, but you're going to put it on yourself. Chrishell says, you traveled with the twins. You're good. Like, you're pissing and moaning about the fact that you were uninvited to a jet, yet you traveled with the twins because, like, they're the head of this office. They're your boss. Shut the fuck up. One's your ex. But anyways, you know what I mean? Like, anyway. Amanza feels for Nicole in this moment. And Chrishell says, you could have done those things, been invited to these things, if you apologized. I apologized to you, yet you didn't apologize to me. And Jason says, let me butt in here. And he says, you did have the opportunity to apologize and you chose not to. And that's not really boding well for you. And he says, like, it would have gone a long way if you did. Then Chrishell says, okay, I'm sorry for, all these different things. I'm sorry for saying you rearranged your face. I'm sorry that I said that you were on drugs. Like, I'm sorry for all of those things, because I guess Nicole wants like actual details for what she is apologizing for. She's like, I'm sorry for all of those things. And Chelsea says, listen, Nicole, we've all done drugs. It's fine. We know you're beautiful. Okay, despite that. But there's like, she kind of trying to say like what Chrishell said, like there's no like real truth in what she's saying. Then Chrishell says, oh, well, there was. Chrishell, listen, if she's done drugs, whatever. Listen, if she's a drug addict, that can be addressed. If she is, socially does drugs or whatever, like, I don't give a shit. But talking about the fact that she rearranges her face or some shit, it's like, okay, but so did you. So does everybody on the show. That's not a leg to stand on. It's not. But so she's like, I wasn't making it up. And Jason is unhappy about the issues between Nicole and Chrishell. And then throws in, and there's also problems between now me and Chrishell. Jesus Christ, Jason. And Chrishell says, well, you know what? Your girlfriend thinks that there's something else going on between us, and there just isn't. So instead of me fueling that, I'm going to stick to professional relationships, not have any friendships, especially with you, and be done. Because I don't want to deal with your girlfriend who has some issues with me. I don't blame her. So, anyway, that is it for episode 7. We're going to take a little break here. When we come back, we will jump into episode 8. And we're back. So let's jump into episode 8. Oppenheim wine. So, Bree's here. Chelsea compliments Bree's dress and she says thank you. So that's great. That'll be about as far as it goes. Um, everyone tells her about last night and what happened and, the fact that it was a shit show. And then we hear, oh my God, Bree? Who the fuck is Cassandra? Is what I wrote down. Who the fuck is Cassandra? Listen to me. Listen to me. Fuck Cassandra. Fuck you with your, oh my God, like I got married like 8 months ago and I got like my real estate license and you got yours like, in 2017, whatever the fuck she said. She was so annoying. I'm not about Cassandra. Can we, Davina, Davina, we need you. We need you. We need you right now. Come back. We need you now. We know, no, Cassandra's out. Come on, let's go. No, this is ridiculous. I'm so not about Cassandra. Trust me. You'll know because I'm going to just get more irritated by Cassandra the more we go with this storyline. So Bree looks really awkward in this moment. And apparently Bree met Cassandra through Heather, I think is the story. So Heather and Cassandra, that explains everything. I like Heather though, that's the difference, but Heather is a little annoying, but I actually like Heather. But that explains a lot. So they know each other that way. And she's like, yeah, I've known her for years. Oh my God. Yay. Anyway. So Bree barely remembers her, but this woman seems to know quite a bit about Bree. This is so weird. She knows, so Cassandra is new to real estate, as I mentioned before. And I'm like, see where this is kind of headed, Yeah. Because clearly we're going to make this a thing. Listen to me. Listen to me. Okay. The chick in the alley, what was her name? The new Alex that's coming on board in OC. She is not. Cassandra is not her. Okay. I really like her very much. This isn't happening. Nice try, boys, but this isn't happening. So anyway, so Bree is now using the safe word. You know what? Maybe we should go get some Oppenheim wine. Get me out of here. And Chrishell's like, oh, let's, you know what? We're gonna go enjoy. We're gonna get some Oppenheim wine. And now Chelsea and Cassandra are talking about star signs and the fact that one's a Capricorn and the other one's an Aquarius and all this. Anyways, now we are starting to exchange numbers between Chelsea and Cassandra. And I said, for absolute fuck's sakes. No. So apparently Bree tells us that Cassandra DMs her all the time. What? Take a fucking hint, stalker much? What the fuck? Listen to me. If someone did that to me, I'd be like, no. Get the fuck away from me. You're fucking stage 5 clinger. You're psycho. Get away from me. This literally, I kid you not, this whole Cassandra Bree situation, it literally gives me Fatal Attraction vibes. And she's Glenn Close over here being like, I will not be ignored, Bree. Like, seriously, this is happening. It's so weird. So now we're going partying. Bree tells Chelsea, while she's drunk, you look kind of nice. And Chelsea says, you know you want to be my friends. No, it's Tequila's talking. So then Chelsea gives her all of these compliments. And then they hug. And someone got a titty in the mouth. Who knows? Anyways, Bree thinks this is kind of just the tequila. Like I said, it's just the tequila talking there. She's like, we'll figure how this goes when we're both sober, which, spoiler alert, doesn't go good. So Nicole feels free from all of the tense situations since Chrishell and Emma aren't there right now. They will be in a second. Chelsea says, but they are coming, so deal with it. And just don't talk shit, basically. That seems easy, isn't it? Not for Nicole. But anyways, now Cassandra is here. Again, why? And Bree is also saying why. Because she says, I'm tired. Cassandra keeps kind of just popping up and asking, sorry, she just keeps popping up. So Cassandra, for some odd reason, asks everybody whether or not they're married. So first, I think, who did she ask? She asked, who did she ask? Oh, Emma, I think. Maybe, I don't know. I think it might not have been Emma. I don't think she was there yet, but she asked someone who isn't married. So first she asked Nicole, she's married. Yes, we all know Nicole's married. Then she asked, who the fuck else was there? We had, Amanza. Amanza says, I'm not married. And then she gives her this look like, well, then you're not like a complete woman then. Like, why aren't you married? Her man up and left her. Fuck you, bitch. But anyways, she literally gives her this look. Not that that matters, because it wouldn't matter. But she just kind of gives her this look of like, so you're broken then. That's basically what she says. And then as soon as Chelsea says, like, I'm married, and she's like, oh my God, really? She just perked up when she heard people are married. I'm like, what sort of fetish do you have of married women? I feel like that's serial killer in the making. I'm pretty sure there's a serial killer that had an issue with married people too. Anyway, it was so weird. So then Cassandra really talks about how she really wants to get like a mentorship. Like this is really important to her. She's new into this and whatever. And then Chelsea says, okay, is there tension between you two? Cassandra asks, like, why are you like that to Bree? Because I think kind of realizing Chelsea has issues too. And then Cassandra, instead of mansplain, Cassansplains instead. And kind of just says like, I honestly, I blocked out what she said to Bree, but she was just like Cassansplaining about all this bullshit. And kind of just ends this off by being like, I am married and all this. Why is being married the end all be all for you, Cassandra? Why is that your fucking identity? Emma and Chrishell are now here, and Amanza is kind of just over it, I think is what I wrote. And then I wrote Bree is my spirit animal because they basically start dancing. Bree's twerking her ass, and that's about it. Anyway, now we're back at the Cabo office, which we did see very briefly in the OC season. Real estate is hot here. And there's also no mansion tax, so there's also that. Jason says Chrishell is always beautiful. Because they talk about how Chrishell looks beautiful. And he says that she's always beautiful. Jason. Man. Anyway, there's no drama at this Cabo office. We will change that. So Bree sold her $5 million house. Yay. There is a bell in the office, but it is technically across at the courtyard or whatever. So she has to literally walk across the courtyard to get to this bell. Then Mary shows up. And there will be a dinner later. So we find the bell. We leave the office, find the bell. Bree rings the bell, but it's kind of awkward. And she's like, what kind of bell is this? So then we see Skip to Malou. on the beach. And everyone's like, what the fuck is she doing here? No one knew she was there. Chrishell, because she's so shocked, literally hits her head on the umbrella. And she tried to play it off, and I think Emma caught it. She's like, "Did you just hit your head on the umbrella?" Um, but anyway, she wants no part in this whole thing with Skitsmaloo, and Nicole tells Skitsmaloo that they have their own house, Chrishell and Emma, because of the issues, I guess, between like you two. What? She didn't even know she was here. Nicole, what the fuck are you talking about? Skitsmaloo doesn't want any drama. Ma'am, you started it. Nicole says, I'm so confused because like all parties have moved on. So like what's the problem, Nicole? Shut the fuck up. You don't understand. Because Skitsmaloo is delusional. Yeah. So here we come, Skitsmaloo with her victim mentality and all of this nonsense and says, well, it's not my fault. I tried to fix it because she's like really important to Jason. And yeah, you did not try to fix it. Roll the tape. You didn't try to fix it. Anyway, Nicole says, I think like with me and Mary, it's different because we have boundaries kind of put in place. Um, and I guess she's trying to say that maybe Chrishell and Jason doesn't have boundaries. You can't compare a relationship that he had 10 years ago and another one that he had like 8 years ago to a relationship that he just recently got out of, like maybe a year, 2 years before. And he was, I have no doubt in my mind, he probably would have married her and he was gonna have a child with her. He was going to try and do that. So this is not the same thing. Because I'm sure whatever he had with Nicole and Mary, although I'm sure he clearly loves them, but just differently. But I don't know if he ever had those intentions with either of them. So I can't speak to that because I don't know. I wasn't there. But it's not the same. It's not the same thing, personally, for me. So anyway, oh my God, here's Cassandra. Again, Chelsea is like, there's this tension between Bree and Cassandra. You fucking don't say. Bree's gone. She literally was like, I gotta go to my kid. Bye. You know what I mean? And Cassandra tells Mary that she's acting like she doesn't know me. She doesn't know you. Just because, okay, there's a difference between actually like knowing somebody, being friendly with somebody, being maybe acquaintances with somebody. She doesn't say that she doesn't know you. She says she just doesn't. Well, I think she kind of said she doesn't remember her or whatever, but clearly she knows you to an extent that you're sliding into her DMs and shit constantly. And yeah, I won't be ignored, Brie. Like, why act like you don't know me, Dan? Oh man. And then Chelsea just has to insert her stupidity, and she's like, "There's this issue, and I will get to the bottom of it." Okay. Um, Cassandra also tells Chelsea that everyone's so nice, but then there's Brie. Like, what the fuck is her problem? You're her problem. And then Chelsea tells Cassandra that, well, Brie says if she doesn't like someone, she will just beat their ass. Who, when, where, and why? When did she say that? She, to my knowledge, has never said that. I'm so confused by her. And Cassandra's like, that's kind of like low and like below a woman. No, it's not. It is not below me to whoop your ass. Anyway. And she's like, it's classless. Your face is classless. Cassandra, get this fucking woman off my television. No, I am not. It's, stop trying to make Cassandra happen. It's never going to happen. She doesn't even go here. Anyways. So then Chelsea says, Bree, she's all bark, but she's no bite. You haven't tried. You haven't tried to come at her. But you will save it. We'll get to it. But like, you do try. And it's just like, I personally think that the only reason she didn't beat your ass down is because she's like, I'm a mother and I'm not going to let this bitch ruin my career, ruin my, my credibility, ruin, just ruin me, ruin my reputation. She's not going to fucking do it. So Chelsea says this is just refreshing to have someone kind of be in her side about everything. So then we see Jason and Skip to Malou are getting ready for dinner. Well, they do get there first, and they are eating raw meat that he didn't realize he had to cook before he put in his mouth. And we are talking about the fact that Good Will Hunting is a classic, which is really funny. When I watched this, it was literally the day after I had listened to, I think it was Monday's Morbid episode. And they had talked about Good Will Hunting and the fact that Ash had not actually watched the movie before. And it was like, I literally watched this like the day after that. And I'm like, whoa, what the fuck? Anyway, back to this. Someone says that we think for Skips Malou that for her, a classic is like The Little Mermaid. What a classic. Anyway, so it is Mary and Romain's anniversary, so that's cool. And then we kind of find out that, you know what, Emma and Chrishell might not be coming. And they're definitely not coming because they made their own plans. Uh-oh. Chelsea says, you can text them if you want to confirm, but I know for a fact that they're not coming. And Amanza calls. There's no answer. And she ends up saying in this, like, in the message, like, hey, Chrishell, like, everyone is here, and, everyone's here, you see, like, everyone's here, showing you everybody, and, why the fuck aren't you here? I don't think she said that, but, like, I'm paraphrasing, like, why the fuck aren't you here? Like, as far as I'm concerned, like, unless your leg is, like, severed, like, you should be here. Whoa. So, Amanza basically says, like, Chrishell is not, basically we're starting to think that maybe Chrishell is not coming because of Skips Malou being there. Amanza's not happy. She's like, Mary's here. With everything that she's going through, Mary's here. But they couldn't come because of this shit. Then Chrishell says, okay, well then keep that same energy when you see her. Actually, I think the call actually happened after. Anyways, she's like, keep that same energy when you see her. Then Amanza says, okay, what about this? And then she calls her and says all that I said earlier. So yes, actually, this is what happened. Amanza calls Chrishell regularly, doesn't answer, and then calls again, and then leaves this video message for her. That's what happened. So as she's like finishing this up, though, she's like, anything else, Chelsea? Do I need to add anything else, or are we good here? And then she hangs up. And then Mary says, where's this disconnect? Because I think what ended up happening, Amanza, Mary end up walking out because she's like, I need air. So Mary comes with her, and Mary's like, what is happening here? Where's the disconnect happening? The disconnect is with fucking Nicole. And honestly, Chelsea. Chelsea's the fucking problem too. Although Chrishell and Chelsea are friends, but that's the problem. And she says, like, Skip only just wants to be nice and be friends, but no, she doesn't. That's the thing. I cannot wait for this reunion to see them all kind of be like, ooh, like that conversation actually didn't really go well. And if anyone thinks that it did, you're all fucking blind. It didn't go well at all. And that's on her. It doesn't matter now because they're not together, but still. Then we kind of go back to the table and Skitsmilly's like, yeah, you know what? Like, I really did try, but it's really difficult when someone threatens me. And what? Where? When? Why? How? Didn't happen. Chrishell never threatened you. What the fuck are you talking about? This bitch is delusional. Chelsea asks, like, why do they need to be friends though, Jason? Like, why does Skip to Mildew and Chrishell need to be friends? This is your ex-girlfriend. This is your current girlfriend. Why is this a necessity for you? And Amanza says that, okay, I'm all over the place with the timeline here, but now she's left. Now she's gotten somewhere. And Amanza says, you know, listen, like Nicole is here. Skits and Malou is here. Everybody's here. So like, why couldn't she be here? And they kind of were like putting pity on Skip to Malou, like, oh my God, it must be really difficult for her to keep hearing that like Jason is in love with Chrishell. And I understand that, but that's on Jason. That's not on Chrishell. Cause I think Chrishell will always love him in a different way, but she's not in love with him. She's in love with G. What the fuck? So Amanda says that if she was her, like, was like Mary's friend, then Mary, she would have been here. And then she's like, she's changed. That's the problem. So now we're kind of putting everything on Chrishell. And I'm like, not everything is on Chrishell. Now, Chrishell's not innocent, but not everything's on Chrishell. So, anyway, that is it for episode 8. We're going to take another break and then we will hop into episode 9. And we're back with the final episode of this episode, which is episode 9, The Enemy of My Enemy. So, Chelsea looks like a Bond girl in her little getup. And, well, in her bathing suit, actually, she's wearing a bathing suit. She kind of looked like Halle Berry in that movie with Pierce Brosnan, the Pierce Brosnan one. And that's probably why it reminded me of that. But anyways, so they're leaving Cabo today. Chelsea is happy that she didn't stay with Chrishell and Emma. And, you know, cheers to sticking it out and not bullying each other. Anyways, so Amanza did get a message from Chrishell after this whole video message that she sent to Chrishell, and Chrishell is pissed. Amanza got fired from the studio renovation thing that she was doing. So she got fired from that. Mary feels something else is kind of going on here with Chrishell. Nicole asks if anyone has actually talked to Emma to see kind of maybe where her head's at with everything that's kind of gone on. And I guess not, but Amanza's pissed and she feels disrespected when it comes to the fact that she got fired. She feels slighted and she says, you know, with what she's doing, you're fucking with my business, which means you're fucking with my kids. Which I get that. I totally get that. So now we're back in California. And here is Bree. And she's selling a house for rich Lana Del Rey. I guess used to live in or something. And Kim Kardashian and Ray J used to live next door. That's about it on that house. Let's move on. So we're with Chelsea and Nicole. And they are going to try and grow their friendship. But then here comes fucking Cassandra. Why? She's literally like she's like the cat that didn't go away. It just kept coming back the very next day. Anyway, um, so anyway, she's here. And Chelsea's $10 million house fell through. So she's gonna have to find a new buyer for it. And she's like, Cassandra, I had so much fun with everybody. Like, I was actually wondering like whether or not I actually made up with any women. This bitch. She does end up commenting on, the whole vibe at the office. Like, she's been here long enough to talk about shit. And she starts talking about like Brie not being nice to people, apparently, that she has like connections or with other people who know Brie or have worked with Brie, and she's kind of talking shit about that now. And so, yeah, she thinks that Brie is moody. And Chelsea says, I like feeling that I'm not going crazy about Brie, that I'm not alone about how she is. She's such a bitch. And I don't understand why people are friends with her. This is where I'm going to start kind of going in a little bit. But I'm going to save my real thoughts for the last episode. Chelsea, you're delusional as well, because you're the reason that you and Brie are not friends. You came in hot about her family dynamic as if you live in it. So that's the fucking problem. But I'll say the rest of my thoughts for a little later. So we're at Mary's, and Chrishell is coming over with a basket full of goodies for her. I think she's moved in here for a bit, but she says it's a little late, but it's, housewarming. I think that's what it's for. So Mary asks, what happened at Cabo? Like, why weren't you at the dinner? And Chrishell basically says that with the whole video that Amanza sent me, I felt the attitude in that video, and she never thought that the dinner was about Mary. She says, if I knew it was about Mary, about you, like I would have been there 100%. I would have put my shit aside and I would have been there, but like hands down. And Mary says, well, and it wasn't for me. Okay. So she said, I just feel like she didn't have to be at the dinner. That's what Chrishell says. She feels like she didn't have to be at the dinner. And Mary says, I can feel you got really triggered more easily nowadays. And Chrishell explains, like, I'm kind of at my wit's end with everything that's kind of going on. She has clearly a lot of shit going on. And Chrishell says that I will compensate Amanza if that's what she needs. I will compensate her for the job not being hers anymore. Then Mary just says, I love you, while Chrishell's talking, and Chrishell just starts to break down. Like, I do think there's maybe something going on with Chrishell, but maybe it's also just the stressors of what's happening with Nicole, now something happening with Amanza, what's happening with Skipton with Lou and Jason. The fact that she had a grapefruit-sized cyst on her ovary, and she has so much going on. And I can totally understand not wanting to potentially add more shit to your already full plate, your full emotional plate, mental plate. So I get it. And Mary says, listen, I want to meet up with you more. She doesn't want to lose this friendship with Chrishell. I think they'll be okay anyway, honestly. Anyway, Chelsea sold the $10 million house again. She had a backup. The end. Moving on. So now we're with Chrishell and Brie. Brie's son, what's her son's name? Nick has so many kids that I don't even know their names. Is this one Royal or something like that? Nick Cannon number 10. Um, I don't know his kids' names anyways. But anyway, her son literally face planted his mom or face palmed his mom in the face because she was trying to sing to him and he said, nah. Okay. Sassy. So now we're talking about Cassandra. Now we're talking about her. So um she's like, I felt ambushed by the whole thing with Chelsea and Cassandra. And Chrishell says, like, the reason why I didn't go to the dinner is because she heard Nicole and Skips Malou talking about everything. So she's like, why the fuck would I have gone? I get it. Yeah. And she then kind of brings up the whole Amanza thing and she shows Bree the video. And Bree's like, oh, damn, there's more. Oh, okay. And she's like, why is this necessary? And Chrishell says, all I want is peace in my life. Why can't people respect that? She thinks that the quote unquote family is toxic, which I get. And she feels like she feels like she's always there for when Amanza hasn't always been the most popular person in the group. But then when she maybe isn't the most popular person in the group, or maybe he's doing something that people don't quite agree with, it's a whole shit show. And Amanza basically singles her out. Not cool. And Bree asks, like, is this someone you really want to have in your life then? If she can't respect the boundaries. And I do kind of understand that, where that's kind of coming from. But anyway, that is the end of episode 9. That is the end of our episode. So the next episode, we will do episode 10 and 11, like I said in the beginning of the episode, and we will be doing the tell-all / reunion for its own episode that you will most likely get during the break. But that is it for now. So if you like what you heard, please rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. And you can rate a review on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And I have a new thing that I want to start trying, and that is that every 4 or 5 star review that we get, I'll read it on the podcast. So if you want to hear your review on the podcast, please rate and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you're able to rate and review. And if you want to connect with us, you can do so by going to Reality Tea Times 2 on Facebook, Reality Tea Times 2 podcast on Instagram, or Threads, Reality Tea Times 2 pod on Twitter. You can also find us on Reddit at Reality Tea Times 2 pod. And you can also email us at realityteatimes2@hotmail.com. And don't forget, you can find us on YouTube at Reality Tea Times 2. You can also subscribe, like, comment on there as well. We greatly appreciate that. And don't forget that I do have another podcast with my friend Nicole called Next Take Podcast, where we talk about all kinds of different things. We currently have, this number can definitely change, but we currently have about 8 episodes. Roughly, we've talked about all kinds of different things. We have a lot of fun over there. So please go take a listen to us over at Next Take Podcast, which you can find us on YouTube at Next Take Podcast. You can also find us on our website, solo.to/Next Take Podcast. And don't forget, we have a website, and that is at solo.to/Reality Tea Times 2. And we also have a Discord, and I believe that's Reality Tea Times 2 as well. So you can find us there. But that's basically it. That's all the stuff. Of course, everything here that I've just listed will be in our show notes, all discount codes, special links to everything that we put in our ads are also in our show notes. And yeah, that's basically it, guys. Thanks so much. Bye.